everybody, and welcome to this LinkedIn live session. We thought over the summer there might be useful to do some briefing sessions for people because there's been quite a lot of change in the APM approaches, APM project management qualifications coming out in September. First of all, there's a new APM qualification. So the qualification's been rejigged, the APM PMQ. New form of assessment. And the second thing is a new route to chartered's been announced. So that those people who have the APM PMQ can now find a new route to chartered. So Carmen has very kindly put together some slides and some presentations. And in this session, we're just going to overview two live events that we've got planned for later in the summer. We're going to give you the links to subscribe, and we're just going to outline what we're going to cover in those events. Now, what we really want is your comments and questions. So if you could tell us what topics you want us to cover in those sessions, we're more than happy to. So if you've got any comments or questions, if you could just put them in the chat, then we'd be really grateful if you could. So I can see Debbie's already said hello. So if anybody else has joined us, you're welcome to comment and we'll cover those questions as we go through. So how are you, Carmen?
I'm very well. Thank you, Paul. How are you?
Yeah, good. Thank you for putting these slides together. So I'm going to hand over to you. You're going to take us through. It's not very long, 10 minutes, 15 minutes overview of what we've got planned for the summer.
Excellent. Thank you, Paul. So, yes, as Paul mentioned, fantastic news for project professionals because there are so many changes in the horizon. So, in this presentation, we want to give you a flavor of what information we will be discovered in the lunch and learn sessions on the 9th of August and the 12th of August. So, the first big change coming up is the APM PMQ qualification is changing. So if you want to know more about what exactly is changing, come and join us on the 9th of August, where we will be talking about what is new in the new exam. And just to give you a very high level overview, the new PMQ exam now will have 4 different type of questions. If any of you tried this qualification in the past, you probably remember that the current exam at the moment requires writing very long answers. So you used to do 10 questions where you have to write lots of paragraphs. And if you are like me, if you are a slow typer, it's not really a very fair assessment. With the new exam launching in September, features 4 key questions. The first one is a multiple choice where you will be provided 4 answers and there will be some of them right. The other type of question is a select from the list. You will have to complete some missing words. You also have questions where you have to provide a very short answer, couple of words, and of course there will also be some long answers, but not as many as it used to be in the current exam. So I think this is a positive change, isn't it, Paul? What do you think?
Yeah, I think for those people who type slowly, I think this is going to be so much easier. I think if you type really quickly, it was fairly easy to get through the level of content you had to do. But if you're a slow type, I'm quite a slow typer, it's quite difficult to actually write the level of content. So I think it's a really positive step for everybody, really.
Absolutely. Now, that doesn't mean the exam will get easier. So the exam remains being a challenging qualification and the difficulty hasn't changed. The other big change coming up with the new qualification is the syllabus. Currently, the PMQ syllabus is based on the 7th edition of the body of knowledge. The syllabus now has been restructured to align fully with the APM competence framework. For those of you who are not familiar with the competence framework, there are a number of competencies that a great project manager should have. So things like schedule management, resource management, leadership and teamwork. So now the way the new syllabus is structured is a direct correspondence to that competence framework. The topics that were in the current exam most of them remain the same. It's just the level of coverage and detail which is slightly different. And also new topics have been added as well. New topics that were in the competence framework but not in the PMQ exam up until now have been included. And they're really exciting topics. There are things like sustainability, ethics, for example, diversity and inclusion. These are some of the subjects that now will be examined as part of this assessment. And to be honest, they're very important topics that today, I believe there are some competencies that anyone working in projects really should have. So we talk about two changes. We talk about the type of questions. We also talk about the new syllabus. The pass mark has changed as well because currently the pass mark was fixed. It was 55%, and the new pass mark now will be variable. So the pass mark will be adjusted according to the difficulty of the paper, kind of similar to what they do with A levels. So that's the third key change. And last but not least, the structure of the exam. The current exam is 3 hours and 15 minutes. You could imagine that is quite a long time to be sitting down typing. So the good news, I think that's another positive change. Now candidates will have the option to take a break if they wish to, up to 30 minutes. Which again, I think is probably something that people may benefit from it. So you could probably see now the banner. If you want to subscribe and know more about this live webinar on the 9th of August in terms of what's new with the PMQ, please join us. There will be a lot of nice examples where we could practice the questions. So if you're thinking of sitting or resitting this qualification, this is really the event for you. Paul, anything else you want
Yeah,
to
the
add?
link
You?
the link is also in the bottom of in the comments associated with this post.
Good.
So you don't need to write this link down. If you look in the comments at the bottom of this link, then you'll also find that post there. Right, so I don't think we've
Very
got any
good.
questions or comments. Only me asking people if they've got any questions. So
Mhm.
should we move on to CHPP then, Carmen?
Absolutely. So that is another change coming up in September. So from September, the APM has announced that there will be one new pathway to charter status for people who currently have the APM PMQ or the PMI Project Management Professional Certification. So this is a really good recognition because both qualifications now would be eligible as recognized assessment for professional practice. For people with the PMQ, only people with the PMQ, that means there will be another additional step. To be recognized for professional practice, you will have to demonstrate you have the experience required. Typically, PMQ qualification is recommended for professionals that have 2 to 3 years experience. So I'm sure most people won't have that problem to demonstrate that. It's a very straightforward validation process. And in our webinar on the 12th of August, we're going to explain you exactly what you need to do, how to get started, and understand a bit more the process of applying for charter if you have one of these two qualifications. If that's not the case, if you don't have PMQ or PMQ, don't worry because we are also going to discuss the other pathways. Currently, there used to be three different pathways to apply to charter status. So with this new pathway now, we have different possibilities to try to achieve the charter standards. So during our webinar, we will talk one by one of each of these routes and what the application process entails for you. So any questions that you may want to clarify or any suggestions of topics that you want us to cover during that live event, please do let us know. And then at the end of that event, everyone will be absolutely clear what to do, how to get started. And we also provide some hints and tips as to how to prepare well for this application. So you should now be able to see the link there. There you go. Paul, do we have it in the comments as well?
Yes, that one's in the comments at the bottom of this webinar too. And when we finish the session, we'll share those links in the comments for this section anyway.
Perfect.
You don't need to register for the. I think Debbie's asked a question actually. Debbie said, "Do you need to register for these seminars?" I don't think you need to register. I think you just, if you do register, then you just get a reminder when the session goes live. You can join. You can just put in your diary, and you can just click on the link at the time if you don't want to pre-register. So, I had a question about this. These pathways, Carmen.
Okay.
If you've got PPQ, which is pathway 2, and you've also got PMQ, which is pathway 3, can you combine them, or are they like separate pathways?
So unfortunately, you cannot combine any of these recognized assessments. So PPQ is a recognized assessment for technical knowledge. So you will have to choose whether you want to go pathway 2 or the new pathway 3. There are advantages and disadvantages. So, pathway 2 will be more heavy on professional practice, i.e., your experience in real world projects. And the new pathway, pathway 3, will be heavier on technical knowledge, advanced technical knowledge, similar to what you have when you did the PPQ. So, it's a very personal choice. If your strengths for the interview are on technical knowledge, it may be better to do pathway 3. But if you prefer they explore more your professional experience, then pathway 2 may be a better option. In the
Yeah,
webinar, we will talk a little bit more about what is the coverage at the
yeah.
interview. But yes, the answer is play for your strengths, whichever one you feel more strength exploring at the interview.
So it depends.
It depends, yeah. But
It depends on
unfortunately,
where you're
can
stressed.
combine.
Yeah, okay. Great. Oh, Paul Warburton's asked a question. He's asked, unfortunately, be away for both. So will they be recorded? Yes, they will. I think
Yes.
they'll be on LinkedIn Live, and we'll put them on YouTube as well for you, Paul. So
Yeah.
good to hear from you, Paul. Actually, give us a ring. So, any more questions from anybody else? Oh, Raymond have. This is one for you. Raymond has said, in pathway 3, what is classified as eligibility?
Okay, so for pathway 3, what you need to do is there is a pre-validation process. So you have to upload your PMQ certificate, and then you'll have to prove experience in projects over the past 8 years. So you just need to put information about what experience you have before. You may want to put any other qualifications in terms of like a bachelor's degree. And then if you have that experience, I think it's over 18 months, then you get a confirmation email from the APM to say that you are okay to apply using this new pathway. It's almost like a pre-check. It's just to make sure that you have at least 18 months experience.
Yeah, it's very similar to the PMI process, except
Yes.
it's not quite as rigorous, because in the PMI process you have to do the split it by process groups. I think it's more universal. And we
Exactly.
have had some people who work for us, and some of your people who are on the CHP programs already go through that process, haven't we? So it doesn't
Yeah.
seem to be overly difficult,
No, and they get back very quickly on that. And the difference is because with PMP, you need to send that is a prerequisite to sit the exam, whereas in the PMQ is a recommendation. It's recommended you have 2 to 3 years experience, but it's not a showstopper. You could still sit the PMQ. So if you have more than 18 months, 2 years experience, you'll have no problem. Is just a way to verify that people with that experience apply through the right pathway.
Yes, great question, Raymond. Thank you very much for asking it. Any other questions from anybody? Comments? Right. So, as we say, click on the links. You can, if you can't find the links, look on the Parallel Project Training Facebook, LinkedIn page, and they're quite clear. And then we're going to be sharing them anyway, so they'll be fairly easy to find. So thank you for doing that, Carmen. That was really great.
Thanks for having
really
me.
good overview, and thanks for the 7 people, I think, who joined us. So everything starts small, doesn't it? So I'll see you all soon, and all have a good weekend.
Thank you, everyone.